Sam Parrott, God bless you, woman. We are in a sugar beet field.
And it's National Real Sugar Day today.
God bless it, man.
Our timing is perfect.
It's so great. And this, I'm trying to find the right one. This is a sugar beet. God.
So for the people that are listening, I realize not everybody's going to watch this episode, but if you're listening...
If you're listening, you can hear this. That's Matt eating a sugar beet.
Took a massive bite out of a sugar beet.
It's so good.
So if you didn't know, Idaho's #2 for the production of sugar beets. And so Matt wanted to come out to a field. So we're literally sitting on a ditch bank. There's a sugar beet field in the background. One of our farmers, Russ Schroll, is harvesting his sugar beets right now. I've got a beet in my hand, but just to give people a visual, a reminder, it's not a red garden beet. That's not what this is. It's
red garden beets are like the redheaded stepchild of these beets.
Yes,
they're
related,
gigantic.
But a sugar beet, they're white. They're like the size of a football, so they weigh like 3 to 5 pounds. And this one little beet equals like 1 cup of sugar, just to give like some context. So I know, Matt, you just took a bite out of one. They're not meant to be eaten. You can't find them at the grocery store.
Okay,
right?
but look, here's the thing. So you're Hispanic, I'm Hispanic.
That's right.
I grew up eating jicama. Like every time, I remember, dude, I don't watch professional sports, and I blame it on my parents because they didn't really watch professional sports either. But anytime the Super Bowl rolled around, they were like, okay, yeah, like we'll watch a Super Bowl. And of course, enter like, chicken wings and stuff. But it was always, like queso fresca, like that circle, queso fresca, corn tortillas, like rolled to the, and then like jicama, like those are, and I was like, dude, jicama's lit. So as I got older, my wife, who I don't think had ever had jicama, I was like, dude, we got to get jicama. And so I started getting jicama. So now she knows anytime she's at the store for Super Bowl, like get jicama. This tastes like a super sweet jicama.
Yeah, the texture is very similar to jicama. It's just sweet, so.
And the skin even appears to be similar. Like if I were actually going to take the skin off this, I'd probably have to cut it off or use like a really aggressive potato peeler like I do with jicama to get the skin off. But it tastes like really good. Like if we had sticks of these, like little sticks like you do with a jicama, I would just be munching on it.
You'd be munching on it. Well, you're going to bring these beets home. I can't wait to find out what creation you make out of them.
Oh my God, this can be good. So this process, essentially you have the beets and then you take it to a process where you extract the sugar down to pure sugar crystals. That's the idea?
That's right. Yep, you're correct. And so this farmer that we're at here, we're in Nampa. So his beets will go to the Nampa Amalgamated Sugar Factory where it'll get processed and turned into sugar. And so harvest will wrap up in about a month. And we'll harvest across Idaho, Oregon, and Washington a ton of sugar beets, like 7 million tons of beets. So
that is a lot of beets.
Yeah, so you might see trucks on the road right now, like 10-wheel trucks hauling beets. You're gonna see the big, massive trucks that are green on the freeway that are Trans Systems trucks. They're hauling beets from the Magic Valley area up to our Nampa factory to be processed. So just a reminder to everybody, be mindful of the traffic. Yeah. Keep in mind our farmers, they're working their tail off. They're working around the clock to put food on your table. So just be patient.
There was when you and I first met and we did an episode, I think, okay, there's like a huge problem with the conversation around nutrition and food in America in general, okay? And one of those things, one is wrapped around protein, right? It's just like, oh my gosh, like animal welfare and, all these ways that they treat cattle. Like I remember reading a book when I was 19. It was assigned when I was in college, all about, it was called My Year of Meats by Ruth Ozeki, right? So it's this Japanese author who wrote about the American food system, and the whole thing was about how, cattle are horribly abused and they're fed like cement to make them swell up in weight and all these things. And obviously I was like, whoa, like that's crazy, and I don't have a way to disprove this woman. Like, I guess there must be some reality to this. And then of course I come to find out, like, it's all trash. Like, it was just a book written to, like, essentially just portray one crap side, excuse the language, of, or one ridiculous storyline, right? And as I've gotten to know ranchers and farmers, it's like, oh, none of them. And they don't know anyone who does that. Same thing with sugar. right? Like you have this conversation around sugar, and I've been thinking about it a lot since we met, because you were telling me like, look, people are actually consuming, they don't consume as much sugar, and like we import sugar, like it's not as much as you actually think. And that got me thinking, like, okay, if sugar is not the culprit, which is the number one thing Americans want to do, always, we need to find one culprit, be it saturated fat, be it, partially hydrogenated oils, be it, sugar, be it whatever. All people want to do is find the silver bullet, and they're like, okay, fix this one thing and everything else will be fine. And overwhelmingly, I was thinking about it, it's like, okay, that's just flat out not true though. And so a lot of the things I was thinking about with sugar, I was very fortunate to go on a trip to Italy this summer. And dude, we ate gelato every day.
That's
Sometimes we would get a gelato on the way to the other gelato spot. Because I was like, let's find the best gelato in Lucca.
That's
right?
amazing.
And we all came back lower in weight. I was eating ice cream every single day. We were also eating like these giant focaccia sandwiches and pizza. And it was like, okay, there's something else going on. And I feel like sugar is one of those things where it's very easy to fall into this like, oh, sugar is bad categorically. It's like, no, it's not. Like, first off, it's one thing out of 1,000 that you're engaging with. And like sugar, just like Sky Vodka, you can die drinking Sky Vodka. I was like, I had Sky Vodka since I was like 22, but like you could die drinking these things.
From drinking water, right? Like
right.
if you overconsume anything, that's not good for you. And so, our line with sugar has always been sugar's part of a balanced diet, right? And so in moderation, it's totally fine. As long as you're following the dietary guidelines of how much sugar you should have. I think it plays a role in our diet. And we've talked about this, but sugar, it obviously is a sweetener. It makes things sweet, but it has a bunch of other really important properties too, right? It bulks up food. It adds texture.
Wait, when you say bulks up food, what does that mean?
Like it's a bulking, like it's a, it adds bulk to the product,
the only
right?
thing I know about bulk is like bodybuilders, like I'm in bulk and shred, like I'm bulking now. What is that? It essentially just, it's an additive that increases weight to it, or
yeah, for
nutrient
sure.
quantity,
And it
quality?
provides
Or?
like that important texture, like
Gotcha.
if you're thinking about like a cake, baking the cake or whatever, right? It's all part of the process. It's a preservative, it makes the shelf life longer. And the other thing I'll say about sugar is, it's been around for forever. It's been studied in the human diet for literally centuries. So I don't know that there's a safer commodity out there, in my opinion. And again, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a food or a health expert, but I just know sugar's been studied for forever. It's been around for forever. So following the dietary guidelines is the way to go. Unless it's you and you're just gonna eat a bazillion things of gelato, or the Whole Foods gummies that you like.
God, they're so good.
The Scandinavian swimmers.
Yeah, dude, those are Trader Joe's, I think. Aren't they Trader Joe's,
What
or
did
are
I
they
say?
Whole Foods? You said Whole Foods.
I'm sorry, it's Trader Joe's.
It's
What a
it's
myth.
fine. Yeah,
Trader
but like
Joe's.
Trader Joe's, and they, you know what? I don't know. I know the wife has been for some time getting, like Swedish fish, but like not with red dye 40 and not with, whatever the hell else. I don't know that makes them any better, but you're like, I couldn't agree with you more in that there were cases of, I think it was like the French aristocracy would have to get like their limbs amputated because they got diabetes so bad, but that's because they were literally eating nothing but sugar. They're like, whatever, I can't do a French accent, but it was like, let them eat cake. Because by the way, we're eating cake. And they were like these, horribly overweight, disgusting, riddled with disease individuals. It's like, okay, that's fine. And we can say that happened. Like nobody's going to deny that. But that's also an extreme case, just like anything else, where if you eat too much of something, it's going to be really, really bad for you. And if you consume and are gluttonous and are, a terrible person all around, bad things happen to you. But that's ultimately, like, I'm not going home and eating like a bunch of ice cream tonight, but it's like, look, man, this is flows into our nutrition system. And it's not that big, again, if done normally, like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and we're in an interesting time right now with RFK Jr. and the Trump administration. He's said a lot about sugar, right?
Has it really?
Here we go. We're taking another bite of the sugar beet. There it is.
So good.
I think his quote is, "Sugar is poison." So my take on that is when he's talking about sugar, he means all sweeteners. So high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, not just real sugar. And again, just as a reminder, real sugar comes from plants. It comes from sugar beets or sugar cane. And with this MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again, I think actually real sugar, we have an opportunity to educate people that we're a natural ingredient that comes from a plant. You can't get better than real sugar straight out of the ground from a plant, that's safe, and it's grown under, the toughest environmental and labor standards. Our food is safe in America. So I think sugar's been an important part of the conversation to bring to light some education about people. We're not a chemical additive like aspartame that's like, I don't even know what aspartame is, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just know that it's like, comes from China, and I can't tell you how it's made, but I can tell you how real sugar's made. And we're sitting in a sugar beet field right now.
I'm a beet farmer, you fool. Yeah,
I love it.
Here's the other thing. I've been trying to parse this out, like why it bothers me. The idea that sugar's bad, it's like, okay, sugar's bad. Fine. What if people want to say that? Totally fine. And I don't know any different, okay? But what I do know is that just articulating, hey, sugar's bad, doesn't change the fact that people are drawn towards sweetness. We like sweet, we like salty, we like fat. Okay, like that's just the way it goes. So in pursuing the one principle that sugar is bad and then trying to fulfill the sweet tooth that we have, we end up engaging in this like crazy science experiment, consuming stuff that's like, I really have no idea what this is. Like, I know that you could take this beet and distill down to some sugar crystals, like, okay, like makes sense. But, again, what is it, aspartame or aspartame?
Aspartame. So that's...
Isn't aspartame one too?
I think that's the same thing, aspartame.
What's the one that's Tylenol?
Oh, I know what you're...
Isn't it? It's like aspartame? It's one of them. We're not good with chemicals.
No.
Don't take...
I'm not. That's not my...
Acetaminophen or something? Acetaminophen?
I can see it in my head,
like,
but it's
come
just
on,
like
you're a
not
mom.
coming.
You know these things.
I know.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But the point is, you have I sometimes go to Dawson's Taylor to get a coffee, and I'm like, oh, I should, sugar's bad, but I kind of want it sweet. And then it's like, pick from one of the mystery packets. It's like, what color rainbow you want? It's like, you want the blue one, you want the yellow one, the white one, the brown one.
And I think that's the problem sometimes with the federal government, because I mean, they've put policies in place to lower calories, thinking that that's the silver bullet. And so all that did was it incentivized our food processing companies, instead of using a real natural ingredient, real sugar from sugar beets or sugar cane, they've reformulated their product to include aspartame or sucralose or some of these artificial sweeteners. They're cheaper, they're sweeter, but again, I don't know what they are. I can't tell you what sucralose actually is or what aspartame is. I know that we get it from China and it's an industrial additive. So how is that better for Americans? How is that better for our food supply? And so
is it a petroleum byproduct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's
somebody
not.
made an artificial Oreo the other day, and he's like, first you start with oil, and he's like dumping oil onto his countertop. It was like, a piece of content.
Well,
I was like,
spoof.
Yeah, that's a thing.
It's not great. And I think if you're drinking diet soda, I think you expect to find an artificial sweetener there, right?
Sure.
I think that's expected. But artificial sweeteners, chewing gum, granola bars, yogurt, all this stuff that I don't know that consumers expect that to be in those products. And I think that's problematic. So all of that said, I think RFK is shining a light on food supply. I don't agree with everything that they're doing, but I think that we have to, as agriculture, we have to find the bright spots, and we have to find a way to work through this system and do a better job of telling our story and talking about our product.
Listen to me. We have a tractor right behind us. I'm shooting a little thing right now.
I love it.
God bless it, man. Go to the Instagram, you'll see that. Check this one out. I had this girl who I really liked. She had these really funny insights. Like the first time I met her, she was 16 and she was like a tennis player or something. And I was like, hey, how are you? She's like, it was like first time I met her. Sit down at the table with her, we're doing SAT prep. And I was like, how are you? She's like, oh, I'm fine. I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, oh, I hurt my leg yesterday. I was like, how'd you hurt your leg? Like, what happened? And she goes into the story about, she's like, I have this friend at tennis, and she does this thing where she's just like leaps over the net like a gazelle. And I'm like, I could do that. Like, I could do that. And she's like, I tried to leap over the net, caught my foot, landed on my leg. I got this big old bruise. I was like, oh, like, dang. It was like, she was just this funny, like, matter-of-fact girl. I was like, okay, like, I'm sorry about your leg, but also had this like sense of humor, laughing at herself. Anyway, cut to, like, she gets into college, does great, and then comes back, and I'm working with her younger siblings, and she's like, okay, well, I need help with the LSAT for the law school. I was like, oh, sure. This is what mom's like, can you help Emily with the LSAT? I was like, yeah, of course. Emily comes in, she literally, when she was in high school, she looked like you, just like normal looking girl, right? Comes in, she's overweight by like at least 150 pounds. And I was like, oh, like immediately, like, did she get her thyroid taken out? Like, is she having some medical issue? I was like, oh my gosh. And we sit down and start working on LSAT stuff. She's like, yeah, man, pizza. And I was like, yeah. Wait, what? So I'm like, I like pizza. She goes into the store. She's like, listen, when you are a kid and you go to a party, what do they have at the party? I was like, yeah, like a pizza party. She's like, yeah. When you're hanging out with your friends in high school, you're all at somebody's house playing ping pong. What's the mom order? I'm like, pizza? She's like, yeah. So when you're depressed in college, all by yourself in your dorm room, and you want to feel better, what do? I was like, pizza? And this girl had literally, and she got her health under control, but she had gained something like 100+ pounds because she was just digging on pizza every single night. Okay, now look, I don't know anything about the Maha movement, but I'm willing to bet people aren't coming after pizza, because if you eat pizza every single night, you gain 100 pounds. Like, this is the balance that I feel really, like, the first time we met, I'm like, but I don't know if I like sugar. You're like, I hear what Sam's saying, and I understand Idaho produces a lot of sugar, but like, I don't know if I like that idea. Now it's like, wait a minute, it's the gelato. Like, I ate gelato every day, and I came home like skinnier because we were walking around and gelato was only this big, and like, the gelato wasn't a problem. It's like, you ever got it?
It's moderation.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not a health expert, but I think
neither am I.
Everything in moderation, eating, having a balanced diet, and then being active. You know, I think that's all part of a healthy lifestyle. But I'm just super stoked that you wanted to learn about sugar beets. It's so cool that you're out in this field and that you want to learn about Idaho's industry. Sugar beets are $1 billion industry. Did you know that?
No.
It's massive.
That's gigantic.
So I just appreciate you having me on the show again, just to raise awareness around this awesome industry. And I think, we've turned you around. You're a huge fan now.
I'm a huge fan.
Listen, all in.
I'm all in. Let me ask you something. Do you know how many tons you can grow per acre?
So on average, our co-op is about 38 to 40 tons per acre. And then our sugar content is about 18% sugar. And this crop, this 2025 crop that the growers are harvesting right now, it's on track to be a record crop. Like, Mother Nature has been so just fabulous. All of the stars have aligned. This crop looks beautiful, really low disease pressure. Our growers in Idaho, Oregon, and Washington are killing it. It has been a phenomenal year. But I have bad news.
What?
Well, across the country, across the world, we're kind of having record production. And so supply and demand, it's tanked the price. No. So unfortunately, our farmers are in a really tough economic situation right now. Sugar beets is like one of those stable crops that farmers grow. I always hear my growers say it pays the mortgage, right? It's just consistent, it's stable, the price doesn't fluctuate. It's a very good crop to grow. So for the price to be down so much this year is going to be really tough for growers. And then all the other commodities are down as well. So potatoes, grain, corn, all those crops are down. And so I just want folks to understand, back to your earlier point, people have this perception that farmers are trying to kill you, right? Or that they're mistreating their animals or mistreating their land. That is not the case. Our farmers, this farm that we're at, they do everything to protect their soil because this is their livelihood. And they work their tail off 24/7 to harvest this food, that's going to make it from the farm all the way to your dinner table. And I just want people to know that they're struggling economically right now. The Trump administration's talking about doing a bailout for farmers. And, I know that people think that it's just, farmers got their hand out again. That's not the case. I mean, with tariffs and everything that's going on right now, the economic climate in farm country is really, really tough.
Okay, I got into an argument, not an argument. I put out a clip about water recently because I had Senator Kevin Cook in.
Yeah.
Great conversation with him, and he's going back to DC to advocate for water infrastructure and federal support to water infrastructure.
Which is amazing.
Which is amazing. And the other thing that, you know, water management in Idaho doesn't just affect Idaho. And I'm not just talking about products that we make, but water in Idaho actually flows through portions of Oregon and then Washington. And they get the benefit of proper management of water and storage of water in Idaho. So having water storage like a water reservoir in Idaho benefits the slow production of water or the managed production of water in those other states as well, right? And it doesn't seem right that Idaho should have to foot the bill when it's benefiting like the West, right? As far as hydro production, agriculture, development, water needs, all of these different things. And this person's like, look, red states shouldn't think about that because they're getting unbelievable support from the federal government, at least in the way of agriculture. And it's like, okay, but wait, like if we don't have federal subsidies for agriculture, we enter into a couple really bad things, which is like food volatility or commodity volatility, right?
Absolutely.
So as the prices go up or down, you have somebody who might have invested $500,000 or $1 million into their fields, and all of that gets wiped out because all of a sudden there's a negative return on funding, or excuse me, on price of commodity, right?
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head. I mean, what our farmers do, the amount of risk that they take on, I mean, it's also dependent on things that are outside of their control. So Mother Nature, for example, if they get a bad freeze, or, in the Midwest when it rains too much and it floods their crop, there's so many factors that are outside of their control. Another thing, I mean, farmers, they borrow more money in a year than you borrow in your whole lifetime. The amount of risk that they're taking for these it just doesn't pencil. The margins are so razor thin for our growers. It is one of the riskiest industries in the country. And to your point, we have to have food. If we're a country that can't feed ourselves, we're going to be reliant on imports, and we are beholden to other countries, and who knows how they've grown and produced their food.
Oh, sure.
And I know people are skeptical about our food supply. I know, again, people think farmers are poisoning them. That's insane.
Yeah, but Sam, look, we met a dude, a farmer, and there was another guy who waved us from. They're not 6-year-old children. Like, you don't get to have the moral high ground of like, we have environmental and labor restrictions. Oh, by the way, we import from countries that don't, right? Like, you don't get to pat yourself on the back for that. So like, there are a lot of hidden costs, including human suffering and toiling, that are a product of us outsourcing our production of things to other countries because it's too expensive. We don't like it here. Right?
Well, and another really great thing to add on, I was just in the UK. I got the chance to go with the Idaho State Department of Ag on an ag policy tour. So we were in East England. And so I got to meet a bunch of sugar beet farmers. I toured a sugar beet factory.
Wait, when did you go?
I was there just like 2 weeks ago.
Dude, I want to go to England.
It was amazing. It was such a great trip. Well, tell your friends at the Idaho State Department of Ag.
Okay.
It was phenomenal. But
Director T. Walt, help me out.
That's right.
That's right.
Chanel. But their government has not prioritized food production. So they're literally incentivizing farmers through schemes that they call them to take ground out of farm production, and their philosophy is just, well, we'll just import whatever food we need. And I think that we live in the best country in the world. I'm so proud to be in America, and I just hope that our country continues to prioritize agriculture and our farmers, because food security is national security. And if we can't provide our own food for our own nation, I just think that's super problematic. So
yeah. Well, here's the other piece of it, if I may. Going back to the larger problem. Okay, so we have farm subsidies because that reduces fluctuation and risk that small farmers have, right?
Yeah.
That allows us to maintain a small farm industry. Because if you didn't, it would be like grapes of wrath, right? Like the larger corporations come in, gobble up all of the farms, the banks buy up the farms and sell them to the large. So then you have like 2 corporations who own all of the farmland, and you essentially have, in effect, like a monopoly on food. That's a bad thing, okay? But the other thing to take into consideration that's more immediate is, and again, I was just parsing this out the other day because I was having this argument with a guy. It's like, okay, you want to criticize Idaho for getting federal dollars but you're not criticizing anyone when you have cheap food in Oregon. You criticize Idaho, but you're the beneficiary of having cheaper food, right? Like that's what it all boils down to. So the subsidies allow farmers to operate at scale and offer food security so that the grocery store in like Kansas or wherever it is has cheap calories, right? Like that's the idea. Not cheap as in cheap quality, but like it's lower in price. If we didn't have subsidies, farmers would have to increase the price. Everything would get more expensive. So although we're the direct recipients, you're the tangential recipient.
Absolutely. And, you know, all of these government policies that are in place, it's our farmers' safety net, right? It's there when they need it. It's not something that's utilized all the time, you know, and if a bad weather event happens or, you know, issues with the market, that's what it's there for. It's their safety net to protect our farmers and to keep them farming and, again, producing the food. And to your point, food in America is super cheap compared to other countries. And I think that we, you know, have just really not appreciated that. I hoped during COVID, when there wasn't food on the shelves, that people would really wake up and realize, you know, our food supply system's super fragile. But it seems like we've already forgotten COVID and,
oh my God,
you know, not having bread or whatever on the shelves. People have already forgotten that. But it takes a lot to grow our food. And I wish more people would take the time to come sit out in a sugar beet field and have these conversations and meet a farmer and just understand that they're phenomenal people. They're the best people.
Yeah, or they're just people.
They're just people.
They're just people.
Trying to do their job.
They're not like evil people. They're not, you know.
They're so passionate about what they do or they wouldn't do it. Like, these guys are out here working insane hours right now to harvest the sugar beet crop to get it into the factory. Like, do you want to do that?
I mean, it looks pretty sick being in the tractors. How long is the harvesting time frame? Like a month or 3 weeks or something?
So we start early harvest in September, and what early harvest is like a percentage of acres are harvested and taken to the factory to start the factory up and get it up and rolling. And
then they get like a little bit more time to grow?
Yes, and then we wait a little bit and let the beets, because the longer they're in the ground, the more sugar they're going to put on. So the higher the yield, which is great.
Fatten them up.
That's right.
Look at this guy.
Get some more sugar on them.
Oh, so good.
So now we're in regular harvest, and then we'll go until like November 10th, basically. So it's like a 2-month window, but some growers, it just depends on how big their farm is. You know, they might be done in a week, it might take them 6 weeks, you know, and it all depends on weather. So you'll notice today it's beautiful, it's sunny, it's 60. The field's like a little bit wet, but they were delayed because of rain. So you can't dig if it's rainy. Your tractors and trucks will get stuck in the field. So there's so many factors that go into harvest.
Dude, it's so cool. I've never been on a production farm like this. I've also never been out when they're harvesting things like this. Like I've seen drone shots, you know, on Instagram.
Well, we're gonna get you in the tractor because you need to experience it. But this is honestly like the best part of my job is being in the field, interacting with our growers. It's awesome.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but somebody was mentioning to me the other day, in the absence of sugar, without eliminating a sweet tooth, we end up like, isn't there legislation that is trying to get like a bunch of artificial sweeteners in public school foods?
Yeah, so
like, or am I misunderstanding? There's like somebody was telling me about it.
Yeah, so there is a movement to remove artificial sweeteners from school lunches.
Oh, because it's already in them.
Potentially. So like we talked about, you know, more and more you're seeing food products that have artificial sweeteners like aspartame. They're showing up in yogurt, granola bars. Like those are things that are in school lunches right now. And they have not done any studies on how artificial sweeteners impact children. And parents, you wouldn't know that that's in your kid's school lunch. And so there was a bill passed in Louisiana that bans, you know, the dyes, artificial sweeteners from school lunches. A bill just passed in California. It's something that, you know, we're interested in looking in Idaho. It might not be a bill, it might be a resolution, just, you know, urging the federal government to look at the school dietary guidelines. You know, I don't love having a state patchwork of different rules and regulations for food labeling and stuff. I don't think that sets a good precedent. So it'd be great if we could handle it at the federal level. But at the same time, as a state, we still need to send a statement that, you know, parents don't want artificial sweeteners in their kids' school lunch because we just don't know how that impacts their health. And, you know, it's just not good products that we should be feeding to our kids.
Man, it's wild times. God
It's wild
bless it.
times.
Sugar Beet Sam, I know you are busy today, and you drove all the way out here. I know you got other things to do. Are we missing anything? Like, this has been fantastic.
I think we covered it. I just one last time, I just want to tell everybody happy National Real Sugar Day. So we are just celebrating all across the country today that real sugar comes from plants. And Idaho is so proud to be #2 in terms of production, billion-dollar industry. You know, just shout out to all of we have about 600 growers, sugar beet growers across Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. So today is really about celebrating them. So cheers.
Awesome. God bless it. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate you. We'll do it again.
Thanks for having me on.